All right. So now, obviously, you've got your own view on leadership, but where would you say that view on leadership was formed? What event, what specific time in your life formed your views on leadership?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that most of this generation that's sitting here learned leadership in institutions or at the feet of great masters or whatever the case may be. I think that we were all thrust into leadership positions. I think
some of us sink, some of us swim. So, but surely something must have happened in your life that got you to think about leadership,
Yeah.
and clearly, it would come across, or it would seem that you are swimming.
I think South Africans have been enormously fortunate in the sense that you've had to grow up very quickly. If I can remember, if I look at what matriculants today do and what matriculants that time had to do, it's two completely different things. When I was in matric, I was secretary of the SRC at the Unity Movement School, where the president of the Unity Movement was the principal, and we had to organize a 12-week boycott against the state and under his nose. Joined the Committee of 81, and that was where you were immediately thrust into the major challenges of, can you imagine, 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds having to make decisions about 12-week boycotts, about whether to march and to take your students out to the streets, confront the Caspers. I mean, those are such life and death decisions, literally, that you have to gain leadership experience from simply doing that. When I did my teaching, and the school that I was at in Mitchell's Plain was particularly active, 6 months into teaching, I was in prison, in detention, somewhere where Bruce Kannemeyer comes from, Victor Verster, and we were, and suddenly you had to just grow up. You had to face the interrogations. You had to face solitary confinement. You had to face a range of other things. And so, in a sense, we were very fortunate that leadership was really just thrust upon us, and we had to sink or swim. And I think that the fortunate thing about South Africans is that the majority of us swam. I think that if you that UDF thing, I tell the story. I was working my way through university. My father was paying one half of my fees, and he forced me to work in the garden every Saturday. That Saturday, the UDF was being launched in, the Western Cape UDF was being launched in St. George's Cathedral. He made me work until 2 o'clock. I rushed to Cape Town, took the train, came into St. George's Cathedral Hall, and they had just elected Trevor Manuel and Cheryl Carolus as secretaries of the UDF, then Andrew Bourain as treasurer, and they then said additional members, and I heard my name. And I tried to protest that I've just arrived here dirty from working in the garden. And they told me to shut up. And that is a major accident. If the train had been late, I wouldn't have been. So I think that that's the way you get thrust into it. And suddenly I found myself serving on one executive with people who I only read about in Grassroots and in all those newspapers and the Arab bulletins and all of those kind of things. Suddenly I am sitting with Trevor Manuel, Cheryl Carolus, Andrew Bourain, Jonathan de Vries, Oscar Mpeta, all on one executive. It's an amazingly privileged life that we live.